Today I'm going to be giving my opinion on the newest Marvel movie, Thor Ragnarok. But first, it usually doesn't take this long. Aha! Okay, let's get started. So Thor Ragnarok takes place 2 years later after the events of Age of Ultron, and Thor is now on this quest in the beginning of the movie to prevent Ragnarok, pretty much the end of days for Asgard, which he had a vision of in Age of Ultron, and he had the vision of all the Infinity Stones. I guess that was his main mission before, because he said, oh, I'm leaving so I can find out who the heck is doing this and who's playing this cosmic game. But in the beginning of this movie, his whole mission is to prevent Ragnarok from happening, so he has to go fight this guy named Surtur. We all see him in the trailer. I'm not going to really touch on a lot, even though I really do want to make this a spoiler review, because I mean it has been out for one day and it's a Marvel movie. So with this movie, I found myself actually giving a lot of, I guess, bads, or I mean some of them would be a little nitpicky, but I mean I have a lot of bads and goods of this movie, and that's not saying that this movie's bad. Hence why I said that this is probably just nitpicking, but I'm gonna start off with my bads in this video, which is a new thing. But yeah, so here we go. Okay, let me just get this right off my chest because it's been bugging me this whole time before this movie has been coming out. I voiced my opinion a long time ago about how I felt about the actress who plays Valkyrie. I don't know her name, I don't care, but Valkyrie in this movie, I mean, she's kind of just not necessary. I mean, I guess you can say that. I mean, she feels out of place for me. Like, I have an expectation of what Valkyrie is and how, I guess, just how she is. And this wasn't it. Like, when I picture Valkyrie in my head, especially if it's on a live action, movie, I picture the high and mighty royal Valkyrie that's all about Asgard and all that nonsense. I picture that. And then when I get that and I see in in anime and movies, and I get to see in the comic books, which her storyline is really, really confusing in the comic books. It's mumbo jumbo comic book stuff. Nowadays, movie productions want to tell you that something is wrong with their character, or not something's wrong, just, oh, we're doing something different. We're going to have a gay character. Oh, we're going to have a lesbian character. Oh, we're going to have a bisexual character. And yes, that's cool. Happy with who you are, do you. But at the same time, if your sexuality does not mean anything to the plot, then don't publicize that. I'm not being negative about that, but it's just that was the whole thing weeks before this movie came out. She's like, oh, I'm the first bisexual character in Marvel. Okay, but the thing is, you're not trying to kiss Hela and then all of a sudden you're gonna go kiss Thor and then everything's solved, Thor Ragnarok done, all thanks to Valkyrie being bi. No, that's not the point of her being bi. I mean, even in the movie, and this is not spoiling anything, even in the movie, you didn't even get a hint of, oh, I'm bi. I mean, you got a hint of, oh, she's feeling Thor just a little bit. I'm happy they did not kiss. That's not spoiling anything. But, you know, they didn't need to tell me she was bi and make it seem like it was an important thing just because Marvel wants to be individuals and they want to have that, you know, equal. I don't care about that. Just give me a good movie with a good character. And then this is going to definitely be spoiling something. I mean, it really isn't for the people who just don't care. I mean, it's not spoiling anything. I love it how the funniest thing in this movie wasn't a joke. It wasn't some punchline. It was the Warriors 3 dying so fast, so quick, you just didn't even care about them. When you saw them, you're like, it's the Warriors 3. And then all of a sudden, they're just gone like that. Okay, stab. Oh, what are you doing? Stab. And then the Asian guy, I don't know his name, so he's gonna be Asian guy for me. The whole time, he had the more lines. He had the more oh, I think he has a good chance. But then, of course, he has to die. So I just think it's funny how Marvel just said, you know what? Screw the Warriors 3. They were boring in the previous 2 Thor movies. Boom, gone, problem solved. Let's replace the main cast with Valkyrie, Heimdall, and Loki, which is not a bad idea, but it's just funny how they had to get rid of them. So speaking on the funny parts of this movie, yes, this movie is very different. It's not like Thor: The Dark World, which is, you just forget that movie ever happened. It's not like the first Thor movie, which I actually really like, and I actually own the first Thor movie. I just, you know, I'm not gonna purchase The Dark World. I'm not in a rush. But the first 2 Thor movies in this movie, yes, you can definitely tell they are different. They are run by a different person with a lot more humor. And that's a good thing. I think Thor should kind of be that funny guy. Like, because he is a bit of a dumbass. Like, just a warrior dumbass with blonde hair and my father and this. It all works out with him being funny. Like, some scenes didn't need to be funny. It didn't need to end with a punchline. It didn't need to have that joke at the end. It felt like it just cut me out of it. And I was just like, oh, okay, I mean, it's Marvel. Just ending a scene with a joke. Which, sometimes it delivers, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, but this movie is just fully packed with it. You can definitely tell that Marvel was trying to explore their funny realm with this movie and say, oh, let's make Thor a lot more funny and let's put a lot more jokes in it. So it's not a bad thing that there's a lot of jokes in it, but I mean, it kind of just cuts you out on some scenes. It's not Batman vs. Superman with all gloomy and dark and you're gonna die. And yeah, it's not like that, so thank God for that. Okay, so then this is a nitpicking thing too. There's a lot of people in this movie. And one of those things that I'm trying to really say is I love Kyle Urban in this movie. His character, the Executioner, really wasn't the Executioner. I mean, congrats. You have the guns that he had in the comic books. Awesome. But, you know, he wasn't really the Executioner that I really wanted to see. Pretty much the same thing like Valkyrie. She wasn't the same thing I wanted to really see. And when you're watching this movie and you see that that's Kyle Urban, you're like, oh crap, that's Kyle Urban. I'm going to see a lot of him, right? And you really don't. And that's kind of upsetting. And then that same thing with Heimdall. It's upsetting you don't get a lot of screen time with these characters that are really cool and being played by really cool actors, but you just don't get enough time in the movie. And it's just because there's so much happening in the movie with all these other actors that they need to have their pay time, and there's just not enough room. And it sucks because, like, God, I want to see more of his character, and I feel like, I'm not going to spoil what happens, but I just feel like that was a throwaway character, pretty much the Shocker in Homecoming. So this is the final thing that is bad. There's a lot of scenes, and a lot of movies do this. This just isn't Thor, but a lot of scenes in this movie were from the trailers. So not only were they not really impactful to the point that I was just like, okay, well, I know what's going to happen with this. Like the hammer being destroyed. Save that for the actual movie. If I would have done it, if I was the editor for that trailer, just have her catch the hammer and look hot with her smile, and that's it. Don't show her crushing it. Like, that's something really, really impactful. And it really wasn't, it didn't hit home because we already saw it in the trailer. Other things that were like that was Gladiator Hulk. I wanted to see him in that suit because everyone wants to see a Planet Hulk movie. And Marvel knows that, hence why they had to add this to the movie. And when they did it, they had to show us, like, in the trailer. Like, why? Because in the movie, the Grandmaster is like, oh, you don't know who my champion is. Oh, yeah, my champion will do extra stuff. My champion will kill you. But the audience knows who the champion is, even if Thor doesn't know who the champion is. So stuff like that would have been more cool if we didn't see that in the trailer. So on my goods, finally, because I feel like I'm just really hating this movie, but I'm really not. Trust me, I'm not. Doctor Strange in this movie shows up, and that's really not spoiling anything either, because that was in the damn trailer too. He's only in there for maybe 5 minutes at the most, maybe 4 in the movie, because he's telling Thor that he's pretty much guarding the world, and he pretty much keeps up all the mystics people, I guess. Like, he keeps all the bad mystic people out there, and one of those people is Loki, so he has to say, oh, what are you doing here in my town? He can't be here with you. So, and he pretty much tells him who he is and all that stuff, and pretty much teases, okay, I'll be back to help you in an Infinity War. But yeah, I mean, how can you not love Benedict Cumberbatch? I mess up his name all the time. But how can you not love this guy? The man can play a smart, cocky, arrogant asshole, and that's the embodiment of Doctor Strange. And Sherlock. He finds a card with his address, and it looked like the Baker Street thing, so I was like, oh, is that a Sherlock reference? I don't know, but that's Sherlock. And I actually really loved the look of Thor in this movie. I recently read the Unworthy Thor comic books, and I really do love those books. I recommend it if you haven't read that. And everyone was like, oh, well, why does Thor have a haircut? Why does he have short hair? Where's his cape? Just read comic books, people. Another cool thing in this movie, when Thor is in disguise, he's just in civilian clothes, but he's carrying around an umbrella. And then when he turns back into Thor, he smashes the umbrella and it turns into the hammer, and he turns into all his Thor getup. And that's actually really cool because they used to do that in the comic books back in the day when Thor would disguise himself as Donald Blake. He had a little stick slash cane or whatever, and he would go on the ground and he would turn into Thor. So that was a pretty cool nod. And the action of this movie, it's good while it's there. Some scenes, like, I probably really have to watch again to, like, really be clear about what I'm trying to say. But, like, there are some scenes in the movie that I'm just like, well, how does that make sense? Like, the scene, like, and it's in the trailer too, when Thor is, like, about to hit Hela with the staff and she, like, blocks, like, doing this. I'm just like, well, how are you blocking like this? Like, shouldn't it go through your arms into your face? Like, you should be dead, homegirl. But, I mean, yeah, the action of this movie was awesome. The first 10 minutes of this movie, of the action, was awesome because we really don't get enough of Thor spinning his hammer around and just messing things up. So we do get that in the first 10 minutes of the movie, so that will satisfy your needs. So overall, this movie, it's not the best Marvel movie in the world, like how the commercials and everything else is saying it is. I mean, I would still think that right goes to, for now, I guess, because I hate it when they say, oh, this is the best Marvel movie of all time. I'm like, well, you know, Marvel isn't done yet, right? And time isn't done, or never will be. So you can't say this is the best Marvel movie of all time. Yes, you can say it's the best, like, so far, but you can't say that it's the best of all time. But anyways, this definitely is not the best of all time. This definitely isn't the best so far. It would probably be in my, like, top 5 favorite Marvel movies. Maybe I haven't even made my top 5 Marvel movies, so that I have to get back to you on that. But I would definitely say that this movie is a 4-star movie. It is a good movie. It's very enjoyable. Sometimes when you're watching the movie, you do forget you're watching a movie and you're just watching a whole big spectacle event. And I really am, and I really love how Marvel is doing that with their movies. Well, a lot of their movies, I would say that. But that was my review for Thor Ragnarok. I cannot wait for Black Panther. It's just right around the corner, 3 months away, then on the way to Infinity War. And I'm really, really excited because just in 2 weeks, Justice League is finally hitting theaters. You know, I'm definitely going to have a review for that the day before the movie comes out. I cannot wait to go see that movie. But guys, like, subscribe, comment below, and let me know. I guess I'll be right back.
I was just struck by something that flew into your window. I was wondering if everyone in here was alright. Is that... Oh. Oh, shit. At least no one's gonna know.